Dealing with internet problems, well, first of all, keep in mind, in other episodes we've covered network problems. And internet problems and network problems are very closely interrelated. So I'm assuming that you've got a good network, that you have a legitimate IP address, that all of your settings are basically right, and that there's something wrong with you and the internet. So that's what I really want to concentrate on here. Two of the biggest issues we have to worry about are slow connections and DNS. So what I want to do is start off with DNS problems. In particular, if you've got a DNS problem, well, first of all, you're going to know you have a DNS problem because you try to get to a web page and it doesn't work. So the big trick to do is something like this. So for starters, what you do is just get to a command prompt and ping something. Anything out on the internet. Whoops. Now, what I want you to see right here is you see that I've typed in www.ibm.com. Now, the ping is failing, but I don't care about that. What's happened is I've got a response from DNS and it's giving me an IP address. If I type ping on a particular address and it can't give me an IP address back, I know I have a DNS problem. So ping is your first and best buddy. Now the question is, well, if DNS is broken, where is it broken? And the biggest problem we run into, more than anything else, is you've lost your DNS server. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type ipconfig/all, and what I'm going to do now is look for my DNS server. Okay, so my DNS server is 192.168.15.1. So what I want to do is just to see if the DNS server is alive, I'm going to use a command called nslookup. nslookup used to be a much more powerful command than it is today, but it's a good start. So you just type nslookup by itself. And what's happening here is it says my DNS server, this is actually the name of the server, and here's its address. So if I want to test a server, all I have to do is type in the name of a server and then try to get to almost any place. So I can do and you'll see that it's resolved it. Now watch what happens if I use something that's definitely not going to work. I forgive whoever has this public IP address that I'm using in an unauthorized fashion. Now, first of all, you'll see that it's now in parentheses. It doesn't like this address at all, whereas before it comes back with a nice, fully qualified domain name. Now I'm not too sure what's going to happen. So okay, in this case, we now know that 12.13.14.15 is not a functioning DNS server. So nslookup is a great tool for, is this particular IP address that I use in my DNS good or not good? Okay, now let's just say it is good. Oh, by the way, you type exit to get out. Now, let's just say it is good. The other thing you've got to do is make sure that you don't have anything in your own cache. Keep in mind that when you do DNS resolutions, they're stored on your computer. So you can actually see this by typing ipconfig/display DNS. And you can actually go through here, you scroll through, and these are all the different places that I have stored and resolved. So if there's ever a problem, another quick thing you can do is do an ipconfig/flush DNS. And that'll clear everything. Now the last thing you can do, if you think your DNS server is really dead, is you can plug in one of the popular public DNS servers. So I'm going to come into here. I'm going to actually go to my wireless connection, which is my internet connection on this computer. And I'm going to go in here. And now normally I'm doing obtain an IP address automatically, but if I want to, I can punch in 8.8.8.8, which is the famous Google public DNS server. These are powerful public DNS servers. And hit OK and close. And a lot of times that'll take care of the problem for you automatically. The downside to using public DNS servers is that on your local network, if you've got your own in-house DNS server, this can cause some big problems. You just won't be able to connect to any of your local computers. But DNS is a big issue. Okay, now the other big issue is a slow response time from a particular resource. In general, the biggest issue you have to watch out for more than anything else is your network utilization. In Windows 7, this is easy. So what I'm going to do is go into Task Manager, and I'm going to look at my networking. Now, on this system, my utilization is almost zero. I'm hardly using it at all. But if I were to see some big spikes here, one of the things I'd be worried about is that I was abusing my network. And when that becomes the case, then you have to determine what is out there and what's using your network so heavily. And that's where programs, let me get back to a command prompt, like netstat can really be handy. Now again, my system's hardly doing anything right now, but as I go through here, I can see that I'm not pushing my system very hard. And as a result of that, I can't really complain that I'm using too much of anything right now. So what happens though is I can sit here and see all kinds of background stuff running and things like that. That can be a huge, huge issue. And then usually it means going into your processes and turning stuff off until you're not using so much of your network. Now keep in mind, it might not be just your system. If you're sharing a network with a lot of other people, the other thing you have to worry about is other people who are hogging up network use. In that case, you can either wag your finger at them and tell them to stop, or you can set up something called quality of service. To do this, you need a router that has that capability. Luckily, I do. All right, now this particular router has quality of service capability, so I hit on NAT/QoS, and there's a QoS tab. Now right now it's all disabled, so I can turn it on. I can say which port I want to put quality of service on. In this case, I'm just going to set it up for the WAN port, so anything that's going out to the internet or in from the internet is going to be part of my quality of service. I can type in my upload and download speeds, which I just happen to luckily know because I'm paying for it. And then I can then begin choosing what I want to optimize. For example, if I wanted to give a certain computer by MAC address priority over other computers, I could do that here. If I wanted to do it by a network ID, I can do it here. And then I can also set by an in particular application. All I need to do is click on Add, and whatever this is, I can set its priority. Now, there's no fixed numbers for priority, so all quality of service have different values. So for example, if I were to say exempt, that means whatever this guy wants to do is not going to be part of the quality of service. Premium is the absolute best, express, standard, and bulk. So these are relative values that each quality of service application uses in its own way. So if you're having network problems, in particular, if you're having system slowdowns, take your time and make sure that your system itself isn't putting a lot of data on and off the internet. If it's somebody else's machine and you don't have any control on that, use quality of service. It'll drive them nuts.